before I actually start into talking about it, when you first walk in, there's quite a lot on the walls in here. So just to explain to you guys how we have laid it out, we start with things from the 1930s above that door we all walked through, and we proceed by decade, moving around the room in this direction to finally reach the 1990s over here, okay? A bit of method in the madness, I guess. So the 1930s here in Dublin. The new Irish Free State had been set up, that's good news, but as I said in next door, there wasn't much money. There was actually really high levels of unemployment in the city at the time. That led to waves of emigration. And we have quite a small object over here, if I scoot through you guys. This one here, and you can see it, which I guess kind of illustrates how tough daily life was for a lot of Dubliners at this time. Anybody know what that is made of? Any ideas?
Leather.
Leather, yes, exactly right. That is a leather bingo card. These were given out by the Butchers' Social Union during their bingo games back in the 30s. The only problem was that every time they would get together and have a bingo game, some of these cards would go missing. Nobody could figure out what was happening and where they were going to. So I reckon you had a rainy day and some poor child was leaving numbered footprints on the floor. But they realised that Dubliners had been stealing the bingo cards in order to bring them home and patch holes in their shoes with them, being the easiest or only place that they could get leather from at the time. Now these 3 holes then in the middle, they were stamped there subsequently to make these less appealing for that purpose, to try and stop people from pinching them all together and let the bingo continue, I guess. Moving into the 1940s then, that scarcity of materials did not really go away here in the city, mostly because the Second World War took place around the 1940s. Anybody recognise the guy sitting at the desk up at the top there? We met him in next door. He escaped from prison just as a nun. Eamon de Valera, exactly. Around this time, Eamon de Valera was at the head of the country. He decided on a very strict policy of neutrality, so Ireland remained neutral for the Second World War. It was so strict, that policy, especially in relationship to the press, that it meant here in Ireland we didn't even call it the Second World War, we actually called it the emergency instead. There is a hole in the roof or something, a misnomer. Now there is a gas mask in the corner there. Gas masks like that one were given out to Dubliners at the time, just in case. Rationing was also introduced in the city, so there was a bit of that wartime atmosphere. But thankfully, in comparison to a lot of other European cities, Dublin managed to emerge relatively unscathed from that wartime period. We never had an occasion to use those gas masks, which in hindsight was really good news, because later tests revealed that there was asbestos in the filters of them. We didn't have to use them, thankfully, so no harm done. It's since been taken out, don't worry. So with all of that going on though, with that wartime atmosphere, as you can probably imagine, those grim times really pushed right through to the 1950s here in the city. As late as 1950, about half of all school children here in Dublin were leaving school by the age of 13. I don't know if we have any 13-year-olds in the room today? No? 13? 11. Oh, you have a couple of years to go. Any 13-year-old I ever ask thinks it sounds like a great idea to be leaving school. But it wasn't that simple. A lot of them were very soon afterwards taking boats overseas for better employment opportunities. So still that cycle of unemployment and emigration was prevalent. There was, however, some light relief at the time, so I can lighten the mood a little bit. Now, you see that top right photograph up here with the 2 gentlemen talking? The guy on the right-hand side of that photo, he actually did leave school at the age of 13, but he went on to create an awful lot of that light relief that we have from this time. He's an Irish playwright. Does anybody recognise this place by any chance? Have you ever heard of Brendan Behan? He's quite famous on this island anyway. Someone's not sure how far the ripples go. But Brendan Behan is this guy here. He was a larger-than-life character. He described himself throughout his working career as a drinker with a writing problem. Quite a smart guy, but a messer. That'll give you kind of some idea. Now there are heaps of really good stories about Brendan Behan and his life. One of my favourites is about once when he was in Canada. He was there as part of a book signing tour. As part of that whole tour, he had to do an interview with a Canadian journalist, and she asked him the sort of standard question, "Well, Mr. Behan, what do you plan to do while you're here?" He supposedly replied, "Well, I saw a sign that said, 'Drink Canada Dry.'" So as you can see from my stories, often portrayed as having a bit of a one-track mind, Brendan Behan. He had kind of an